It's time now for the weekly Holland Public Schools update. Jason Craner joins us on the other side of our Zoom connection. Jason, good morning and glad you are with us on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
Thanks, Gary, for having me. Appreciate it. And we're super happy this morning about hearing the election results coming in, and very grateful to be in a community that supports public education.
Being in the business as you were before you took over with Holland Public Schools, some might say the 18 mil non-homestead tax usually is a slam dunk yes, but now that you're on the other side of the equation, not necessarily a slam dunk yes.
Well, especially, given so many variables this time around with an increase in the number of voters, the absentee voting, the mail-in voting, you just don't know. And we don't want to take for granted either, that we have a great history of our community supporting public education and supporting these votes, but we don't want to take that for granted and make sure that folks know that this was 30% of our operating budget is this 18 mil. And then of course, the rollback portion of this question this year was also another little wrinkle about the Headley rollback, and it amounted to $300,000 to $400,000 for the district. So it was a big vote, and we are so appreciative for the support in the community.
Now, you and others involved with Holland Public Schools, hopefully getting ready for in-classroom education later on this month. Return to Learn. We've heard from Superintendent Brian Davis about the program itself, and I hope, Jason, that things are, shall we say, moving full speed ahead on this.
We're moving ahead. We've this week we had a great meeting with the staff and teachers to be sure that they have all of their concerns heard and questions answered, and that we're moving ahead in a way that is safe for them as well as for the students. We have heard from over 75% of our families responded to our Return to Learn survey, basically families declaring whether they want to come back to school or if they were going to choose the online option for August 26th, the first day of school. And of those 75% of our families, 80% are choosing to return to school. So it is a good number of families who are ready to come back. Now we're spending this week reaching out to the remaining 25% of families that didn't respond to the survey. We're going to reach out. We're going to try to make them hear their decision about whether or not they want to come to live face-to-face school or be part of online schooling to begin the school year. We will assume that any family that didn't respond is choosing face-to-face, is going to choose to come to school. So if we haven't heard from you and we didn't hear from you, we're going to assume we're going to see you on August 26th, the first day of school. So still a lot to do between now and then. A ton of work that has to happen to prepare the buildings, make sure we have the right equipment there, and just to kind of feel out who's going to be in what classes. I mean, that's really where we're spending a ton of time today, is making sure that we're building class sizes. We should have those class lists out for families by August 14th. So we're building classes right now and seeing what staffing is like, and then buying the licenses for the online learning for the folks who have chosen that option.
And also the other thing too is if things turn, and it can turn on a dime, we've learned this from March, this district may have to start thinking about having to dial back and go back to more remote learning than the actual in-classroom learning.
Absolutely. We don't know what's going to happen. And we could be within a couple of weeks having to turn back to stage 1, 2, or 3, phase 1, 2, or 3 in our recovery. And that would mean all from home learning. Here's the beauty of our Return to Learn plan. We're going to use Google Classroom from the very beginning instead of jumping in halfway. So even when the students are in class and coming back to school, parents, students, all the classrooms are going to be managed through Google Classroom. So if you go back home for online learning, because we go to phase 3, classes will be able to continue in not seamlessly, but it'll be a nice transition because we're ready for that now. We've been planning for that throughout the summer, as opposed to what happened in the spring, where we had to turn on a dime and create curriculum for that. Here's the big difference, though. If we do go back to online learning because we slide into a lower phase, is this time it's going to count. The students' grades will be impacted by how things are done during the online learning. When we were in March, the governor was very, very specific about it. This can't hurt, right? The learning couldn't hurt a grade; it could improve a grade. Well, this is going to be seamless from the classroom to online learning, where the grade will continue. So I think that's a great incentive for the learners that this is not an option. School is going to continue.
You mentioned the first day of classes, August 26th. Jason Craner, that's 3 weeks from today as we speak.
Yeah.
I hate to mention that, but that's 3 weeks between now and then getting things ready. What other dates should those who have students going to Holland Public Schools keep in mind?
Yeah, so we're working right now on the first date I want to tell you about is August 20th. This is for the high school and the middle school, for students who really haven't been in the building to come in and walk their schedule. This is something that is important for those first-time kids in the building, those sixth graders, those ninth graders. There are not going to be teachers in the building, so you're not going to meet and greet and it's going to be a very limited number of people in the building at a time. It'll be a lot like what the building centers were a couple of months ago, where they would let 50 people in the building, and once 2 people left, 2 people could go in. And that's what we're going to do from 9 o'clock until 4:30 on the 20th at the high school and the middle school. You'll be able to come and walk your schedule, get a feel of the building, know what's happening there. So that's the first date. And then the 24th and the 25th, now it's a Monday and Tuesday. Those are our traditional back to school open houses, except they're not going to be traditional this year, in the fact that we are going to ask that folks not spend a lot of time lingering and going and talking to old teachers and meeting in the hallways and chatting. We really want folks just to go in, introduce yourself to your teacher, and then head out of the building. And we're gonna limit the amount of people in the building by separating it by last name. So here, let me explain this. On Monday the 24th, the TK through 5 buildings, students' last name A through L will be going from 4 until 6. And Monday, the 6th through 12th graders with the last name of M through Z will go from 4:30 to 6:30. And then alternating that on Tuesday. So what this will do is not only will it limit the number of people in the building, but it'll also allow folks who have kids in multiple buildings to make it to the different buildings. That's a little confusing, I know, but it's on the website. It will be very soon on the website at hollandpublicsschools.org/return to learn.
It is going to be an interesting 3 weeks between now and the 26th, and maybe beyond as well. Jason Craner from Holland Public Schools, thank you very much for joining us today with the latest on what's going on at Holland Public Schools, and we look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Gary.